we are fundamentally flawed human beings, each one of us, and being imperfect is not a crime.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we should be talking about, that it's okay to fail, it's okay to fall. Our entire education system is built on competing with one another,
Yeah.
of, going ahead of everybody else and racing ahead. That's not how we should be.
Absolutely.
Human experience is to make mistakes, is to keep falling, failing, and then rising up again. And let's embrace that part of ourselves, and let's remember even the moon, जो चांद है, it doesn't have to be full in order to shine. The moon does not have to be full in order to shine. You do not have to be a perfect human being in order to be a great human being.
That deserves a round of applause. Another beautiful statement from the book, that's what I'm going to read next, is in alignment with what we just spoke, is waiting for a man to grow up is the women's biggest mistake. And I couldn't relate more. It actually made so much sense. And how modern relationships are changing, especially in the post-COVID world. So there's a lot of unlearning, there's a lot of learning, and then there's a lot of relearning that we need to do. So what would you like to comment on the current modern relationships scenario in India, especially from a dating standpoint?
Something I've learned, two things I'll tell you. First of all, for girls, when you're falling in love, whenever it happens to you in life, don't just date the guy, please date the family. Because in India, you're marrying the family. So don't ever forget that. And the second thing, by the way, I'm married to a wonderful guy now, and I'm extremely happy. There are a lot of good men out there also. The one thing I've learned in life is that people will not treat you the way that they think you deserve. People will treat you the way you think you deserve. Do you understand? Should I repeat it? People will always treat you. Thanks. Thank you. But people will always treat you the way you think you deserve to be treated. Even in love, in romantic love, don't lower yourself, your self-worth, your dignity beyond a point. It is not worth it, because I know society keeps telling, especially women, ki adjust kar lo, sacrifice karo. And then you will get, this sort of, zenith of love, and experience that tolerating pain is a sign of strength. I use these lines in the book also, that it's not a sign of strength. If a relationship is painful, if it's causing you grief, trust your instincts, trust your gut, listen to your head. Sometimes you have to listen to your head and walk out. Because trust me, you deserve better. Like I said, I was in love with a man who hated even the best in me. Nothing about me would make him happy. Now I'm in love with a man who loves even the worst in me. And that's the kind of love you should fight for. That's the kind of love you deserve. Don't ever settle for anything else. Find a man who will love you at your worst, and show him that aspect right at the start. And trust me, you'll be happy.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think it's relatable in the current scenario, and that we should not, there is no cap on that you should be married by 25, you should be married by 30, and these rules, there are no rules for this thing. I'm telling from experience. I'm not married, but there are no rules for this thing, and it's also to not marry. It's a choice. Everything you do in terms of your career, your relationships, your hobbies, what you want to eat for breakfast, everything is a goddamn choice, right? So while we have learned a couple of things about the book, I'm sure, Meghna, the audience would want you to read a couple of lines. Can we do something interesting? We can ask anyone a page number, and we read a paragraph from there. Sure. What do you think?
Sure. I actually wanted to just read one quote from the book,
Perfect.
which I think everybody has loved right at the start of the book, which is, I think, a rule you should follow always in life. Stay away from men who peel the skin of other women, forcing you to wear them. I think this quote kind of sums up the book.
Wonderful. So, are you game to read a paragraph? Okay.
Somebody else can read. I'm sorry, I get very embarrassed talking about my own work and reading from my own. book, but very narcissistic.
All right. So, Meghna, delving a little away from what we have been speaking, if you had to, advise or write a letter to a 25-year-old self today, what would you talk about? Not just relationships, but otherwise, overall.
This book is actually a homage to my younger self, to my sort of innocent, holy self. I was in my early 20s when I met someone and gave everything up for that person, moved countries. I had a rocking career. I was a TV anchor at NDTV. I gave all of that up. I had my amazing family, all my friends in Bombay, and I gave all of that up to move to New York. And then that person just peeled away skin after skin, layers of skin from me. And I became suicidal and all of that. I thought I was worthy of nothing because the man and his family kept telling me that I was an idiot and I was this and that, all kinds of slurs, the typical slurs that every woman faces. And to come out of that, to go from being a very happy person to being an extremely, incredibly sad human being, and to then finding solace in writing. So I became a writer because of that guy. And I always tell people that, like I wrote in your book also, right? Be a lotus in spite of the swamp. You will face tragedy in your life in some form or the other, at some point in your life. You have to choose how you react to those circumstances, because circumstances don't define us. Our attitude to those circumstances define us. So this book is for my younger self. वो horror movies में दिखाते हैं that a girl is, her back is turned and a murderer is coming with a knife in his hand, and you want to reach into the screen and you want to pull out that girl and say, turn around, look back, see what's happening to you. So this book was like that. I was looking at my younger self and said, "Tu kar kya rahi hai? Why are you doing this to yourself? You're hot, you're awesome. Why are you letting yourself be diminished, undermined by someone who's not even worthy of 5 seconds of your time?" So this book is to not just my younger self, it's to all of you that, learn from my mistakes and don't ever reduce yourself for another human being. And it doesn't have to be about romantic love. It can be any relationship, whether it's your boss, your colleagues, your friends, your family. Don't allow yourself to be with someone who diminishes you. Always elevate, with anybody. And only reserve your love and your respect for people who deserve it.
Absolutely.
So this is my... and don't be an Abla Nari. I'm not telling you to be a Krantikari, right? You don't have to go out and, use banners and protest every day. I'm not saying be a Krantikari. Just be a normal Nari. Like, wear a sari, do whatever you want, but don't be an Abla Nari. Because you define your own victimhood or not.
Right. So, to add to that, I think, while you were speaking about circumstances, life is not what you do, life is what happens to you, and you have to make the most of it. I have personally experienced near to death tragedies, and life is short. Life is really short, so make the most of it and make it count. I will be taking questions towards the end. While we were talking about Boys Don't Cry, I generally was curious about knowing your writing process. If you could enlighten us with that.
So I'm a masochist. I'm consumed by writing. I'm constantly writing. I mean, even when I'm present here, I'm looking for stories. So I think the story writing process is not just about the physical act of sitting down on the desk and typing. It's also about being open to new ideas, to experiencing all that life has to offer. Like, people keep telling me, Meghna, where do you get your inspiration from? I'm like, there's inspiration everywhere. I can be waiting at a signal and find a story that comes to me. And by the way, I have to say this for Boys Don't Cry. It got picked up on the second day of publication. It's being made into a movie. I'm writing the screenplay for the movie also. So it's very, very exciting.
Wonderful.
And I have to say, for the younger generation, you guys rock. The book was launched at the Jaipur Lit Fest, and the audience was packed. There were like, I don't know how many 100 people. And there were men speaking out about, I thought it'd be mainly women. Most of them were guys. They stood up and spoke about their own experiences. Because here's the thing, guys, there may be a taboo attached to speaking about abuse and all of that. But if women face that, men face that to an even greater extent. That if a guy comes out and says that a woman hit me, people will laugh at him. They'll mock him and say, you're not man enough, And why are we doing that to each other? We are in this together, shared experiences. This is humanity, for God's sake. So, the younger lot, they were so progressive. They were so interested in what abuse looks like. I feel like our generation and the older generation would run away from the truth. These guys are like, give me the truth and give it to me good. And I love that about you guys. So this book is dedicated to all of you. Please don't make the mistakes that our generation made, where we were taught to be subservient to patriarchy, to misogyny, to men, to in-laws. Please don't be like that. Stand up for yourself always and forever. So this is an ode to you guys. I'm so happy it's coming on the big screen, because I think it's a learning lesson for so many people, not just women but also men, of not to draw somebody into your dark world. Mental health is such a big issue now. If you're experiencing mental health issues, don't look at women as people who can treat you. They're not a therapist. Go and get treatment and then only enter any sort of relationship. So I think the movie will take that message, perpetuate that message, and take it even forward.
Amazing, amazing. That's beautiful. So before we move on to questions, I just planned a fun rapid fire with you. Okay. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you a word and you have to come up with the answer with the same alphabet. Okay, so if I say Shalaka, you have to say something from S. Okay. Things like that, right? Yeah? Okay, we'll start. We'll start with the easy ones. Yeah. Okay? We'll start with Mumbai.
Madness. Magical.
Women.
Wonderful.
That's what I was looking for. Mental health.
Misunderstood.
Relationships.
Rocking, if you want it to be.
Healing.
Humanity.
Writing.
Wreckage.
And the last one. Orange City Literature Fest.
Awesome. Can I say that? Awesome. Don't judge me for that. By the way, I told Shalaka was very sweet, and she said, should I send you the questions beforehand? And I said, no, I never ask for questions beforehand. I like to be surprised. I like to think on my feet. Because when I learn and I think, then hopefully, the audience learns.
You
were great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Everyone tells you to get out of a toxic relationship especially, but no one tells you how to.
Yeah. So, right.
But when we are in a relationship, we have some kind of attachments. Yeah. So how do we
manage that?
How do you get out of it?
The one thing is, even when we fall in love with the wrong person. And this is exactly what I said at the beginning, that, society keeps perpetuating this, huge romantic notion of how to fall in love. But how do we fall out of love? And my question is always, first of all, be happy that that person was in your life, because they were there for a reason. They were meant to take you on a certain path, your journey, your life's journey that you chose before you came here. So be thankful and grateful. Because I've gone through this. I go from love to hate very quickly if somebody mistreats me. And I think that's the wrong way to do it. First, acknowledge the person's importance in your life, and then step away from it, because you deserve better. You're not stepping away from them, you're stepping away for yourself. So always know that, and understand the main thing, that you are not defined by the relationship. That if a person turns out to be abusive, or he's a liar, or he's a cheater, or whatever, that is not what defines you. It defines him. So don't take his flaws as your mistakes. You have not created it, you have not asked for it, you don't deserve it. You deserve better. And you go on that path to find what is better for you. And trust me, I'm not just talking about romantic love. You don't, by the way, guys, you don't have to fall in love, romantic love, to experience life at its fullest. There are lots of forms of love. You know, there can be love for travel, there can be love for your career, there can be love for a pet, love for your family. So let's not define ourselves by that one relationship that didn't work out, or even 20 relationships that didn't work out. We are better, stronger for it. So we are experiencing this because we asked for it, but that does not mean that's the narrative of our life. We are more than that. So just remember that, don't take it personally.
Also, I would like to add to this that किसी एक इंसान की वजह से तुम्हारी ज़िंदगी नहीं रुकती और रुकनी भी नहीं चाहिए.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, we have another question.
One more question. It's really nice. Thank you. It's really nice.
Thank you so much for your book. I'm definitely going to buy and read it. Coming from a very abusive background since childhood.
I'm sorry.
And no, you don't have to be sorry for that, I would say, because if I'm here today and I'm strong, I feel like that worked in a better way. Yeah. Being with abusive parents and then getting married to an abusive husband and then divorced. So I have a child now who is like 5 years old and he's a boy. So I take that as an opportunity to think that I could raise a better man in this world.
Absolutely.
So as a woman, I would like to know it from you, since you also come from the same unfortunate situation, that if I'm raising a man and he's a 5 years old, so what all are the expectations, not expectations, but what are the right ways, or what do you think a man should have in it at a tender age, so that he can grow into a better person in future and treat other women more correctly, maybe? Yeah. And yes, that is my question.
Wonderful.
I would
What's your
like you
name,
to
please?
answer. Apeksha.
So Apeksha, the fact, so, I can see the awesomeness pouring out of you. No, but seriously, the fact that you're asking this question means the boy is going to grow up to be a wonderful man, because he
thank
has a
you.
mother like you. So I don't think you have to worry. You're not going to perpetuate the cycle, the vicious cycle of violence or abuse. Your boy is going to grow up to be respectful of men, women, of society, of institutions like marriage, of love, because he learned from his mama. And I think the fact that you're asking, you're thinking, you're cheating, and you had the courage to walk out of this and to bring happiness into your life is that. And I always, again, same thing. I keep thanking my abuser. I'm like, thank you for doing what you did to me. I became a writer because of him.
Yes.
The best thing that has happened to me in my life has been my writing. The best thing. And that only happened to me because of him. So out of great tragedy comes great beauty.
Yes.
And that's what I'm seeing in you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Wonderfully said.
Apeksha, you're already leading by example.
Yeah. I was just about to say this.
Yeah.
Actually,
leading
I am very grateful to my partner sitting here.
Clap for him.
Cheers.
Can we just, we'll just.
I met him 2 years back, and I actually made him this aware. I was not aware about myself, and he's the first man in my life I met who is like soft spoken, who is gentle, who is like he knows that you should work for yourself first. I am really grateful that he is here, and he's actually made me this aware that I'm actually thinking about my child as well, because I was at a very bad place at that point. So his name is Akshay.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing
Thank
us
you
how
so
men
much.
should be.